The Biden administration and the censors that live inside want to continue censoring. There's a lot of bad news that they have to deal with. The Biden crime families being exposed, all of their efforts continually fail right out from under them. Doesn't really matter what you're talking about, whether it's domestic or foreign policy, pick one. But they lost a big case in Missouri versus Biden. The judge in that case, American hero Judge Doty, issued an order that said that the Biden administration can no longer censor Americans. This was being done by exporting the censorship. Agencies like the FBI, the CDC, the DOJ, the White House itself, people in the offices were sending emails to Facebook and to Google. Delete this, delete that. The judge said, you can't do this. We have the First Amendment. There's protected political speech still in this country. And the judge issued an injunction ordering all of those officials, and there were dozens of them, to stop censoring Americans. And guess what? Agencies started complying with the order. The Hill reported that the State Department canceled their censorship meetings with Facebook. The court order came out, and they said, well, I guess we got to follow the terms. After the ruling, Biden administration officials limited communications with social media companies. They should have done that already. The State Department canceled its regular meeting on Wednesday, which it just makes your skin crawl. What is the State Department having meetings for with the Facebook for? National security, or is this to control the narrative over whatever they're working on, which in this case is probably World War III? Those meetings, which had been held monthly, and all future ones were canceled pending further guidance. So it works. The judges can reaffirm adherence to the First Amendment, and the State Department complied. They didn't respond to a request for comment, but they are now appealing this. The censors can't be bothered. They have filed immediately a motion to stay the injunction. So an injunction, as we talk often about here, is a request or an order to do something, to get somebody to take action or to stop somebody from doing a thing. The judge issued an order, stop censoring. They filed a request to stay that order. Here is what they asked. They filed this with the court. It's 2 pages, very brief filing. We'll read the memo later. It's Louisiana and Missouri versus Joe Biden. Here is what the government says. All of these government prosecutors. Signed here by Kyla Snow. They say, for the reasons that we talk about in our other filing, we respectfully request a motion to stay the preliminary injunction. Please allow us to restart our meetings. If the court denies the instant motion, we request an administrative stay to allow time for the Fifth Circuit to consider a motion for a stay and a request for an administrative stay. All right. The judge issued the order. We're still in the Western District of Louisiana. Right now, the judge's order is in effect. They're asking the judge's order to be put on hold. If the judge denies it because the judge reads their rationale and says, sorry, it's not good enough, then they're saying, well, reject our main reason and take reason number 2, which means we're going to ask the Fifth Circuit for a stay. We're going to ask you, lower court, for a stay. If you don't grant it, we ask for a brief stay while we ask the appeals court. So they're going to get 2 cracks at a stay, and one from the lower court, one from the higher level court. So signed off by Kyla Snow. That's the request, and here's the memo. This is their explanation as to why they must continue censoring us, lest we all die. They say the government censor bureaucrats respectfully request that the court stay its preliminary injunction because we're appealing. They say that the government, us, we face irreparable harm with each day that the injunction remains in effect. Every moment we can't censor people and collude with the big tech companies, irreparable harm, I'm sure. The injunction's broad scope and ambiguous terms, they say, may be read to prevent the government from engaging in a vast range of lawful and responsible conduct. Nobody's asking you to do it. You're doing it because it serves your political party, but it's not in furtherance of the First Amendment. The judge went through all of your litany, and you say that they're lawful and responsible. The judge found that they're not. That's the point. They say, including on speaking of matters of public concern and working with social media companies to prevent grave harm to the American people. The judge's order didn't limit them from doing that. These immediate and ongoing harms to the government outweigh any risk of injuries to the states and we the people. And for the same reason, they say a stay is in the public interest. We have to censor or else it's going to be bad. They say the defendants here, the government, has shown a substantial case saying that the government, the states here, the people, lack standing, and that this court should grant a preliminary injunction. Now, they give us some details on this. You know, they have to consider whether there's irreparable harm. These are all the rules. They say we absolutely will suffer irreparable harm. The court's list of carve-outs injects uncertainty. The court's purported exemption to allow the government to exercise permissible government speech it's at odds with the conclusion. So they're saying we don't understand your interpretation, and so it's going to chill some speech. In other words, it's overly broad, Your Honor. You're going to be, through your confusing wording, you're going to be limiting more stuff that we're allowed to do. We're asking where this line is drawn. The court said, you censored way too much speech, so you got to go back over here. And they said, well, you pushed us too far over here. We should be back here in the middle. So the government says, well, the injunction is not clear as to what entities or individuals are covered. It names entire agencies like the DOJ. And the DOJ is composed of many subcomponents whose actions are not challenged by this case. Do you see this? So they're like, do you mean the entire DOJ? Like, really? Are you sure? Yeah, the entire DOJ, idiots. Yes, the entire FBI, all of it, the whole thing. Not little subcomponents. They say the injunction applies to everybody, but we really have confusion about that. Because it says you're also enjoining the FDA, but you also enjoin the HHS. And it's a small subpart, and so, Your Honor, we're just confused. There's substantial ambiguities here, and that's why we need you to put an injunction in place so we can figure out who is covered and how to comply. So we need to continue censoring while we sort these terms out, which you can imagine it's going to take a while. They say the potential breadth of the entities and the employees covered by Judge, your injunction, combined with the substantive scope, is going to chill a wide range of lawful government conduct. Yeah, they're really concerned about chilling the government's conduct, not so concerned about chilling Americans' conduct. It's going to impede on law enforcement responsibilities and obligations to protect national security and the prerogative to speak on matters of public concern. And so we're going to be irreparably harmed by this injunction. And they say the people are not going to be injured. If we keep censoring, there's not going to be irreparable harm for them. Their claims of harm are almost a year old. So all of those claims are just old. And they haven't shown any ongoing evidence of ongoing harm. In other words, they can't prove that the government is still violating these rights. All of their examples are just old examples, over a year old. These people are so rotten, man. So they say that the government's going to raise serious legal questions. They're going to challenge Article 3 standing, and they're going to try to get this all dismissed on appeal. And so they say, Your Honor, therefore, this lower level court, the district court, should issue a stay, allow us to go and censor again. If you deny this request, then we at least allow you to issue a stay for 7 days while we ask the appeals court, the Fifth Circuit, to stay there. We request a ruling by Monday, July 10th, so that we can start censoring people, man. We've got a lot of meetings with YouTube and Facebook and now Threads and now Instagram. And once again, signed by Kyla Snow out of Ohio, attorneys for the government. So another request by the Biden people to censor away. It's the way that they play the game. When they can't succeed in the eyes of the public, they just censor their political opponents. And now they're prosecuting them too. And they've got a lot of stuff to censor.